Hey everyone, thanks for clicking on this unusual type video for Spartachr1s Gaming. Basically, I had just finished playing The Park recently and uploaded it, and I just couldn't get the ending out of my head and trying to piece things together about what really happened, what we really saw. And I've been looking around and seeing a lot of theories online and stuff like that, but I agree with some of it, but I had to dig really deep because I get really invested in stories like this, especially when things are left really vague and we don't exactly know what happens. And I think I've pieced some things together, but my viewpoint changed when I found out something else about this game. So first I want to tell you what my raw opinion was to begin with, and then why it changed when I found out that extra information. So I took some notes here, and so what I originally think, this is what I originally thought happened. So you find clues as you go through the game that talk about deaths and things like that have occurred at the park. Some were accidents, some were murders. Maybe some of those accidents weren't actually accidents. Who knows? It could be like sabotaged equipment, things like that. That part doesn't matter as much. But what does matter is Lorraine, who you're playing in the game The Park. Her boyfriend died there at the park at the Ferris wheel. His harness supposedly broke while he was working on it because he worked there at the park. He fell to his death. That sent her into a horrible downward spiral of depression followed by psychosis, which seems pretty obvious as she has lots of hallucinations and things like that as she moves along in the game. So sometime after his death, she gives birth to his son, Callum, but she's very mentally ill and not handling being a mother well at all. She makes a lot of references in the game to that continuing theme of Hansel and Gretel, and sometimes wanting to be Gretel, wanting to be Callum's sister instead of being his mother, because she can't really bear that burden of motherhood. It's just not working with her. So whatever the case, through the dialogue and some of her flashbacks, things like that, we know that she had an abusive father, also through some of the clues and stuff that we find, and that she may have inherited that abusive streak, along with possibly a drinking problem coupled with, you know, the problems that she's already got. And we know that she at least injured Callum on one occasion. At some point, Callum runs off to this park. At the beginning of the game, it looks like this happens in real time, but things quickly change and become distorted and strange. So I think what we're seeing there, or I thought what we were seeing there, is distorted memories mixed with her psychosis. I think at the point that we're playing the game, Callum's already dead. So how did he die? There's plenty of clues around the park that talk about a killer who I think is supposed to be Nathaniel Winter, the guy that opened the park in the first place. I did not think that she actually ever saw her son's body, but finds evidence of his death, and she becomes so consumed with guilt that when we see the scene of her, spoiler time, when we see the scene of her stabbing Callum with the ice pick, guided by the hand of the creepy scarecrow boogeyman guy, I think that's symbolic of her blaming herself for his death because he ran away to get away from her. And her then becoming not Gretel, not the mother, but fulfilling the original intentions of the witch in that story of killing the child. So I originally thought. Then I dug a little deeper and I found out that this game is connected to another game called The Secret World. And that's something that I have never actually played. I did a little research on that and read a few things. So now I think I know what the real story of the park is. So I think a lot of what I said still occurred. You know, boyfriend died, gave birth to Callum, didn't want to be a mother. She became abusive, and I think that Callum was already dead before the events of the game, because we do know at the very, very, very end, she is sitting in a room with like a detective or officer or something, and kind of being interrogated or giving a statement or something like that. So everything in the game has already happened, right? But when we're seeing the memories, I don't think they're actually distorted or as distorted as I originally assumed. So it turns out, I've got some background here. So Nathaniel Winter built this theme park on this land he knew was cursed, and he did it on purpose. And there's a lot more backstory to that, but I don't want to get into all that stuff now because I'm not as familiar with it. But he built these machines or a machine or something within this park that can harvest and store the energies of like caused by emotions and things like that. And you can imagine a lot of emotions going around at a theme park because there's, you know, thrills and scares and all kinds of stuff. Bunch of accidents happen, people die, people are scared. It's a lot of powerful negative energy being built up. And that energy can in turn manipulate people like Steve Gardner, who was the Chipmunk Chad mascot who snapped and killed a bunch of teenagers just in broad daylight with the ice pick. And also Lorraine, Callum's mother. So at some point, in addition, some teens had broken into the park at night. Nathaniel Winter captured and killed at least one of them, I think, and found a way to finally fuse himself with all of that negative energy that had been stored up, and this turned him, I mean, physically turned him into this thing, this boogeyman that we keep seeing throughout the game. So I think that what we're seeing, I think Lorraine actually does go to this park, chasing after Callum, whether it was, you know, later or if it really did happen where they had been there. And I think this is what happened. They were there. The park was closing for the night. He realized he lost his teddy bear in. He had to run back in. She chased after him. And even though things get really weird and strange, that's because of Nathaniel Winter. I don't think it's because of a psychosis and stuff. I do think she had depression. I think she had a lot of problems. But I think Nathaniel Winter was manipulating her this whole time and messing with her head. All right. So these things that we're seeing, these are actual memories. When you see this boogeyman in the game, she actually did experience that. She actually saw these things. It was warping her, just like the chipmunk guy before her, which is why although Steve has been imprisoned for the crimes he did when he killed those teenagers, we still occasionally see that mascot around because it's basically the remnants of that negative energy he created through his crimes, through killing those kids. So then towards the end, when we see the image of Lorraine killing Callum with the ice pick, I think that actually happened. So like we see Winter's hands kind of around hers originally coming down. And then if I remember right, he takes his hands off and she just does it. He manipulated her into killing her own son. And it probably wasn't that hard because she already didn't want to be Callum's mother. She's been struggling with that the whole time. So I think at the very end, when she's in that room, I think she's considering, she's either there to give a statement or, I mean, she's got to say something because her kid is gone. And her head is just a mess because of how manipulated she was. You know, her mind was distorted. Her negative feelings toward her own son were being preyed upon by Winter. Just all kinds. She was basically being like mentally tortured through this whole thing. And that's why her memories are so, look so screwed up and everything, but these things really did happen to her and she really did kill her son. So I think that part is all actually true. And I think when the cop or detective or whatever asks, when did you last see your son? I think she's about to confess. So that's my theory. There was my theory before I knew about this other game and looked into it, which I thought was pretty decent. And then I did the research, and now I think that this is really what happened. I can't say for sure because I couldn't dive too much into it because I wanted this to remain a theory and not just reading everything from a Wikipedia. I mean, the big thing was finding out about those machines and stuff that harvest the emotional energy or whatever. And then kind of from there, I'm like, okay, well, based on what happened in the game, this is what I think was going on. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below, if you agree or disagree, or if you have your own theories. I really want to know. I've never played The Secret World, so I could be wrong about some of this stuff, but I think I'm fairly close, especially since it's a very, like, from what I believe, supernatural kind of themed game. So it makes sense that you know, magical energies and machines and stuff like that could exist in this spin-off called The Park. So I want to know your thoughts and opinions based on your experiences with the game. So make sure to go down, comment below. If you like this video, also let me know, and maybe I'll do more of these kind of like retrospectives for certain games and stuff more often. So this was just kind of a new thing, a little experiment. Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun. It was therapeutic. All right, I'll see you guys later.